Thunderbolts Review, Marvel's gritty midlife crisis. Marvel Studios has thrown us a curveball with Thunderbolts, a film that feels like a strange interlude in the grand saga of superheroes. It's not a fresh start, nor is it a definitive conclusion. Instead, it's a hesitant middle chapter in a narrative that seems to be grappling with its own identity as we approach the end of Phase 5. After more than a decade of epic battles, cosmic adventures, and multiverse chaos, we find ourselves in a world populated by a motley crew of misfits and forgotten heroes. The once mighty Avengers are either gone, de-aged, or stuck in development limbo, leaving behind a cast of weary characters staring into the void of their own irrelevance. Meet our unconventional team, a former child assassin, a disgraced Captain America wannabe, a super assassin turned politician, a haunted quantum entity, a relic from the Soviet era, and a human emotional contagion named Bob. These characters have been sidelined, overlooked by their government handlers, the world they once saved, and, most painfully, by audiences who have moved on. Yet, Thunderbolts offers a glimmer of hope in this post-Endgame landscape, as Kevin Feige seems to acknowledge that the party might be winding down. Directed by Jake Schreier, known for his indie flair, Thunderbolts features a stellar cast including Florence Pugh, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, Hannah John Kamen, Louis Pullman, and Geraldine Viswanathan. With a runtime of 126 minutes, the film follows this ragtag group of anti-heroes as they embark on a perilous mission that forces them to confront their darkest pasts. Florence Pugh returns as Yelena Belova, still grappling with the loss of her sister Natasha Romanoff. Her performance is a breath of fresh air in this phase of Marvel, as she embodies disillusionment with a relatable authenticity. "Maybe I'm just bored," she quips early on, perfectly capturing the sentiment of a post-Endgame world. While Thunderbolts doesn't solve the overarching issues plaguing the franchise, it does confront them with a refreshing honesty, making it one of Marvel's more human efforts in years. Schreier's direction brings a light indie touch to the film, steering clear of the convoluted lore and flashy effects that often bog down superhero movies. Instead, he allows his characters to navigate through desaturated settings, creating moments of vulnerability that resonate. While no one can completely reinvent the MCU at this point, he subtly redirects its course. The plot, however, is where the film stumbles. CIA head honcho Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, manipulates our anti-heroes into a mission that turns out to be a deadly trap. As they slowly realize they've been sent to eliminate each other, we witness a slow-burn mutiny among these sad-eyed soldiers who would rather embrace than fight, at least most of the time. David Harbour's Red Guardian continues to charm with his grumpy dad persona, delivering some of the film's funniest lines, while Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes brings a grounded gravitas that reminds us of his more engaging storylines. Wyatt Russell's John Walker scowls his way through the film, still grappling with his past, and Hannah John Kamen's ghost remains an enigma, fittingly so, as her power is to phase in and out. And then there's Olga Kurylenko's Taskmaster, who, well, let's just say she's a bit underutilized. These characters find themselves in a cinematic purgatory, not quite significant enough for franchise salvation, yet too important to be discarded. They embody the narrative flotsam of previous installments, bravely questioning what happens to heroes who have been sidelined. The action sequences are competent but rarely exhilarating, and the color palette leans heavily on shadows and grime. Yet, amidst this industrial bleakness, a sense of freshness emerges, allowing the characters to breathe. The standout is Louis Pullman's Bob, a fragile, mumbling superbeing whose power is to make people confront their deepest fears. His abilities, which manifest as a living fog of despair, serve as a poignant metaphor for the emotional struggles many face. Pullman's portrayal is both twitchy and sincere, making Bob the first Marvel character in ages who seems genuinely surprised, and a bit scared, to be part of this universe. Through Bob, Thunderbolts achieves its most ambitious emotional depth. This ragtag group of disposable delinquents isn't focused on defeating a villain, instead, they're on a quest to stop being the bad guys themselves. Their journeys are driven not by fate but by a desire for self-reflection and healing. Ultimately, it all circles back to Yelena, whose sardonic emotional register makes her the film's compelling core. Pugh's performance builds momentum in silence, and she's the only one who seems to grasp that the real villain is disconnection. While Thunderbolts may be messy, meandering, and emotionally uneven, it feels like a film made by people who genuinely wanted to create something meaningful. That's more than can be said for many recent Marvel projects. In a post-Endgame landscape, Thunderbolts stands out as a minor miracle, not necessarily because of its own merits, but as a stark contrast to the films that preceded it. It's a modest offering, almost allergic to the typical MCU bravado, yet it succeeds where so many others have faltered. Catch Thunderbolts now playing in theaters.